Okay, we've just had the announcement. Trek's having a proper women's team.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, excited then?
Yeah, I'm delighted, yeah. Just really excited, the fact that they're coming into the sport. I think it's the perfect time for them to come into the sport. Women's cycling really needs it, you know? It
does, and they've done a lot for the sport, women's side of the sport already, because if I remember right, the Wisconsin cyclocross race that they have, they're making the women's race the priority this year, aren't they? That's the lead race. It goes the men, then the women.
Yeah, exactly. So the women can have a breakfast at a decent time. That doesn't happen very often. And it's equal prize money. And like you say, they've always been a company that's very much focused on equality. And now is the right time for them to do a road programme too.
They're making a big deal of it. Like John Burke, the owner's turned up, hasn't he? Just to announce it, even though it's been known for a little while.
The big boss is here. That's always a good sign. Yeah, no, I think everybody at Trek is behind it and excited about it. I went out to Wisconsin in America a couple of weeks ago and met lots of people who were all behind the project and really excited about it. And it's kind of the first bike-owned team, which is quite unusual in women's cycling. So you really kind of have a relationship with the sponsor.
You went to Wisconsin, you say. Did they treat you to any of the nice cheese over there?
I had some cheese, yeah. And they were more excited about their cheese than me. I like a strong cheese.
A nice...
like a smelly cheese, and it wasn't smelly, it was like...
It's fake, innit? It tastes fake, if I'm honest.
Cheese, yeah.
It's not slag them off, they're the sponsors.
Madison was a nice city, but the cheese wasn't up to French standard.
Obviously you're expecting a young child, young baby.
Yep.
Exciting times are ahead, I can guarantee you that. So when do you think you'll get back to racing? US maternity leave's like 10 days, I think, at the most.
Yeah, I think, you know, I'm very kind of open-minded about it. Obviously it's my first child, I've never had a baby before. We don't know what's going to happen with the baby's health, my health, you know, fingers crossed everything will run smooth, but you just don't know. So for me, my goal next season is the Yorkshire World Championships, and patience up towards that I think will be key. So rather than start too early and push it too soon, I think that will always kind of determine when I start again. Of
course, yeah, forgot about the world champs there.
Yeah, biggest deal ever.
It is. Glasgow's got European champs this year.
Yeah, but it's not Yorkshire though, is it?
No. Have they released the circuit yet? Have they released like a rough idea what the circuit's going to be?
They have, yeah.
What do you reckon on it then? Did you have a helping hand?
No.
In designing, no?
Absolutely not. No. I mean, the women's race literally rides past the house I grew up in, so that's pretty special. You know, I feel very lucky that in my career I'll get to do a home world championships, but also literally ride up the road that I used to walk home from school on, you know? Yeah, it's going to be crazy, yeah.
Okay, so obviously there's going to be a huge challenge to come back from pregnancy. Do you think it's going to be like the hardest challenge you've had in bike racing, or is there other ones that you think have been harder?
Physically, I think it would be the toughest challenge I've ever had, definitely.
Mentally?
Mentally it won't be. No, I've been through worse. I've been through worse in the sport of cycling than the challenge of having a baby. I think, like, I've always felt like when you fall in love it gives you wings. As cheesy as that sounds, it's true. And I think, you know, ultimately I'm going to fall in love completely with my baby, and I'm going to be on top of the world in terms of my mental happiness and contentment. So I don't... Contentment, that's the wrong word.
No, you're right. You do feel 100% content. It's like it changes every... Listen to me. Yeah, it changes everything. It really does.
So I think I expect to be incredibly happy, and it's a 2-year project for me. I'm looking forward to 2020 Olympics, and I think for me having a 2-year goal means that I can give it everything and look back with no regrets, you know.
They've got Le Course for the women, and how do you feel about that? A lot of people just feel it's like an afterthought. It's not on the Champs-Élysées anymore.
I mean, there's good and bad points to it not being on the Champs-Élysées anymore. Like, it's the biggest stage in the world in terms of publicity, exposure to media. There's the world's media here that we don't get at women's bike races very often. So it definitely has a place in terms of media exposure. You know, cycling is a business at the end of the day, and it's great for our sponsors that we can expose them alongside the men's Tour de France. Having a one-day race is obviously not enough from an athlete's perspective. I want to ride 3 weeks of the Tour de France and be taken seriously in the same way that the men are, but we're not there yet. But I've heard rumours. I think we'll get there.
Do you think in your career you're going to see the sport change dramatically, or is it going to be small increments over the next, I don't know, decade or so?
I think it'll be in my lifetime that I'll see a Tour de France, not in my career. I think there's steps that need to come before we have a 3-week Tour de France. Personally, I think the women's peloton needs to be completely professional. You can't have somebody who's got a part-time job expected to race for 3 weeks in the Tour de France. So, you know, there's chicken and egg scenario. There's a lot of kind of different solutions and different answers, but the important thing is that we do keep pushing for change, and I don't think we're ever going to go backwards again. I don't think that can happen. Like, in society in general, equality is such a massive topic at the moment that I don't think there's any excuse anymore for sexism. So I think we're in a good place.
I think that's a good place to leave it. Awesome, thank you very much.